Hey, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Dani, the Rosenblad James, and I'm an inspirational speaker, a mind and body coach, and international bestseller. It didn't always start like this, though. I wasn't always on top of my game. I had a lot of hurdles and obstacles to go through throughout my whole entire life. A huge one was the traumatic brain injury that I had. And so I'm going to go and do a deep dive into that to give you more of a look into my life. So I want to begin with a question. Have you ever felt completely lost? I'm talking about the kind of lost where your entire sense of direction is gone. Your sense of self disappears. It's that overwhelming sinking feeling when the ground beneath you seems that it's vanished and you're left floating there. For me, that moment came when I woke up from a coma after a car accident. The world I had known was gone. My body was broken. I was so weak, I could barely move. My mind felt like a foggy maze where nothing made sense. I couldn't focus. I couldn't think clearly, and the future felt more uncertain than ever. But then something happened. Amid all of that chaos, that inner voice inside of me whispered and said, "This is but a moment." And that single sentence changed my world. It reminded me that even though I couldn't control what had happened to me, I could control what happens next. That moment was the beginning of my healing journey of self-discovery and the ultimate stepping stone of getting into my own power. So, after 10 years of recovery from my traumatic brain injury, I had to learn a lot. I mean, that whole recovery that I went through, I had to relearn how to walk, how to use my brain. My equilibrium was crap. It was tough, but I kept pushing forward, and this is where I am today. I'm so happy for it and thankful that I didn't give up on myself. Now, let me ask you to imagine something. Imagine your life as a maze, a labyrinth. And this isn't just any labyrinth. This would be a beautiful, intricate maze where there's every twist and turn, and every dead end actually represents a challenge throughout your life. This could be a moment of fear, doubt, or some kind of hardship that you went through. Imagine walking through this labyrinth. Now, the walls rise high on either side, and sometimes you feel like they're going to close in on you. I relate so much to that. You take one turn and then another, only to find yourself at a dead end. That frustration builds. Oh, I know that frustration. You want to turn back, unsure where to go. For me, the walls of my labyrinth weren't made of stone or ivory. They were built from all of my limiting beliefs, all these blocks I had throughout my life, especially when I was working on getting in a better, safe place in my life. Some of those beliefs would whisper to me, "You're not good enough. You'll never make it. You can't do this. Who do you think you are?" And there were days when the labyrinth, it felt suffocating to me. Like the walls were closing in, trapping me into a loop of self-doubt and fear. Have you ever felt that way? Like no matter how hard you try, you can't find the way out? But here's the thing about labyrinths. They're not prisons. Even if they feel like it, they're not meant to trap you. They're puzzles. They're designed to challenge you. And the more you explore them, the more you keep walking, even when you're tired or afraid. The more you learn and the more you grow. Now, this definitely wasn't easy for me. I couldn't navigate it worth crap. There were moments when I wanted to give up, and there were also moments when I sat down on the path and thought, what's the point? But each step I took, I started to see that this was a journey not about finding my way out. It was all about finding my way into myself, into my purpose, and into the life that I was meant to live. Along the way, I discovered tools, practices, and mindsets that helped me break down those walls that I had built myself. And the reason I bring this up today is I want people to see that everyone has their own labyrinths to navigate. The paths maybe are different and the challenges are maybe different, but the fears, the doubts, and the self-belief, they are pretty universal. What I want to share with you today are some of the tools that I had learned and gained from my own journey of recovery. These will change that labyrinth of doubt and fear into discovery and growth. Because no matter how high the walls may seem or how long the road may feel, there's always a way forward. You are never truly lost as you keep walking. You are never truly lost as long as you keep walking. So before my accident, my life felt normal, or what I thought maybe was normal. I was living a simple, unconventional life as a weed farmer. This was a job that I loved because of the independence and the connection to earth. I wasn't chasing big dreams or trying to change the world. I was just content existing where I was in my own little corner of it. Or at least I thought I was content. The truth is, I didn't know I was missing something until my accident forced me to stop and look at my life. It's funny how we can drift through life on autopilot, thinking we're okay, until something shakes us up to our core and makes us question everything. That action was a wake-up call for me. As I lay in my hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, I realized two things. The first thing, that I was meant for more. My life up until that point had been safe and predictable in a way. But deep down, I knew I wasn't living up to my full potential. I wasn't challenging myself, and I wasn't taking any risks or pursuing things that I truly believed in or that really lit me up. And the second thing I realized is I didn't want to do this alone. Before the accident, I prided myself on my independence. I thought I didn't need anyone. But lying in that hospital bed, I understood how deeply we all crave connection. I wanted to build relationships, to be part of something bigger than myself. And finally, after those passed through my mind, I knew I didn't want to work for someone else either. I had spent so much of my life following other people's rules, playing by their expectations and what they wanted in fitting into their boxes. The accident made it clear to me, if I was going to build a new life, I was going to do it for myself on my terms. That realization was both freaking terrifying and exhilarating. It was terrifying because I had no idea how to begin. And the reason it was exhilarating, because for the first time, I felt like I was stepping into my true self. The moment I woke up from my coma and heard that inner voice say, "This is but a moment," everything started to click. It wasn't just about surviving the accident. It was about redefining what it meant to live. And it helped me realize that I have a choice to what happens next. Do I want to stay in bed for the rest of my life? Or do I want to take the steps to become something bigger, something better? Of course, stepping into this new life didn't happen overnight. That would have been nuts if it did. I had to navigate that labyrinth of recovery, face my own limiting beliefs, and confront the fear of failure. But with every challenge, I felt more certain that I was on the right path. This idea became the main point of my book, The Wandering Heart, A Tale of a Misfit Traveling in Life's Wilderness. The book is loosely based on my journey, both before and after the accident. So it's really raw, honest, and deeply personal. In it, I take the readers inside my mind, the battles I faced, those inner battles, the inner dialogue that shaped my choices, and down to the lessons that I learned along the way. One of the key messages is that healing isn't about fixing yourself. It's about discovering who you've always been underneath the pain. Since publishing my book with She Rises Studios, I've had the incredible honor of sharing my now international bestseller on podcasts and at events. And one of the most powerful experiences was speaking with the women from Women Thrive about it. Listening to the other women's stories was like seeing different reflections of the same truth. We are all stronger than we think. Every time I share my journey, I'm reminded of the ripple effect of storytelling. When we speak of our own truths, we give other people permission to do the same. And in those moments, we realize that we're not alone. Now, let's talk about limiting beliefs. I'm sure many of you have experienced them. Maybe you heard a voice in your head saying, "You're not enough, you don't deserve success, or you can't do this." For me, those beliefs were some of the toughest battles. I doubted my ability to recover. I doubted my worth as a woman in a world that often undervalues us. And at times, I doubted whether I even had the right to dream. That's crazy. But here's what I've learned. Limiting beliefs only have power if we feed them. When we face them head on, we take back our control. One of the tools that helped me is what I learned from Rhonda Byrne, and it's called the welcoming. Instead of pushing away those negative feelings, invite them in, accept them. Like, I imagine giving myself a hug and saying, "I see you, I feel you." And then you let them pass through. It sounds simple, right? Of course, this takes consistency, and it's at first really difficult, but it gets easier. This practice has transformed the way I see my emotions now. Instead of enemies, I see them as teachers or lessons to be learned. I want to leave you with a few practical tools you can use on your own journey. There's the one I just mentioned, the welcoming. When you feel fear, doubt, or anger, don't resist it. Welcome it and sit with it and let it teach you something before it leaves. This you can do with any kind of negative emotions. That's what the welcoming's for. Another one is choice mapping. Remember that every moment is an opportunity to choose your own path. Even when the road feels unclear, you gotta trust that power that you have and take that next step. And finally, gratitude journaling. Write down 10 things that you're grateful for every day. Doing this simple practice rewires that brain of yours and helps you focus on the positive, even in the challenging times. When I was recovering from my traumatic brain injury, one of the hardest parts was feeling like I had to figure out everything all on my own. I felt pretty alone with the problem not being able to use your brain properly or move or function even. I did make progress, but it was slow moving. And after I healed from the outside as much as I thought I could, I opened myself up to connection, sharing my story with communities, learning from others, and working through those inner struggles with people. And this is when I truly was able to start healing from within. That's why I created my 12-week online program. It's not just a course, it's an experience. Each week, we'll dive into one of the chapters from my book, The Wandering Heart, and we'll break it down and get the lessons from it and discover how to apply them into your life. And we'll do this together. We'll look into awareness. This is the foundation of transformation, self-connection, rebuilding the relationships with yourself, and learning to trust your inner voice. Group activities where we're sharing experience and insights with one another. Meditations. This is simple yet powerful practices to help ground yourself. Then there are limiting beliefs. We're going to start identifying them and dismantling these thoughts that are holding you back. Then it's self-love, learning to embrace all the parts of yourself, the good, the bad, the messy. So this program is your opportunity to take the lessons from this talk and from my journey and apply them to your own life in a tangible, meaningful way. If any part of my story resonates with you, if you've ever felt stuck in your own labyrinth, or if you've simply feel ready to embrace that next step on your journey, I want to invite you to join me. This isn't about fixing yourself because you're not broken. It's about uncovering the amazing person you already are and stepping into that full potential of yourself. So here's the call to action for you. Don't let this moment pass. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. I believe in the power of choice. And today you have a choice to stay where you are or to step forward into something new. My program is a space where we'll walk this path together, where you'll find the tools, the support, and the community you need to move forward. You can find all the details below, and I'd love for you to join. I want to end this with something important. Life will always be a labyrinth, but every twist, every turn, every step brings us closer to who we are meant to be. So keep walking, keep exploring, and remember, the power to choose your path has always been yours. Thank you, and have a great day.